Hi, my name's Rita and I'm currently in my second year studying electronic engineering at the university. As you can imagine, it's close to Christmas, we're all getting into the festive spirit, and I especially am feeling the bells ringing. In the spirit, I've been working on this project that I like to call the Christmas jukebox, which is essentially an electronics project featuring an Arduino which plays festive songs and also flashes light in time with the music. Might as well give it a demo. So this project features 4 songs, which we'll quickly scroll through. Brownie points to you if you can identify all those songs. So I'm just going to go a bit into how this works and essentially what went into it. So we have a circuit here and that's being driven by the Arduino. You can essentially think of the circuit as being broken down into 2 parts. You have the first part, which is the buzzer and the LED, which flashes in time with the music, connected in series and being driven by 1 pin. And you have the second part of the circuit, which is essentially 3 other branches of LEDs which aren't flashing in time with the music but are just sort of flashing rhythmically in their own time, very Christmassy colours, just to give it a bit of flair. So both the buzzer and LED, as I mentioned before, are being driven by 1 output pin. That output pin produces audio frequencies, which is the tone you can hear with the music that's playing. So you might be wondering exactly how a buzzer can produce music, and the answer to that in hardware terms is to convert your notes to frequencies, which are things that the electronics can actually understand. So for example, say you wanted to play a note such as middle A. Middle A is 440 Hz, so what you would need to do is output an audio frequency of 440 Hz using the buzzer. So we drive the output pin connected to the buzzer at 440 Hz, and as long as you have some sort of sound producing element in the circuit, you hear a tone, middle A to be exact. So yeah, essentially music as we know it is just a sequence of audio frequencies. The second part of the circuit, as I referenced earlier, is just a row of LEDs flashing in their own time. That's nothing too complex. You have each LED being driven by their own pin, and they just switch on and off using a timer, not connected to the rest of the circuit or the music. One thing I do have to mention in general is that, as you can probably notice here, we have no current limiting resistors connected into the circuit. I would generally advise against this. The only reason they've been omitted here is for visual simplicity. But if you wanted to recreate this at home, or in general, if you were trying to drive an LED in any other situation imaginable, please use current limiting resistors to avoid damaging your Arduino or any other microcontroller and your LEDs. This looks pretty simple on the outside, but in truth, a lot of work did go into this that you can't currently see, which I will now show you. We have approximately 800 lines of code for this embedded electronics project. I would like to stress that this is not my own work. This is in fact an open source project that you can find online, meaning if you fancied creating your own Christmas jukebox, you could very well get the components, get the code, and do it yourself at home. Current limiting resistors though. What you see here is essentially a sequence of frequencies being played for a set time. Each one of these lines correlates to a note being played, and you have 4 sets of these very large sequences, and these are essentially the songs you're hearing down in code. And there you have it, the Christmas jukebox. As I mentioned before, this is something you could very well create at home. The components are relatively easy to get a hold of. As I mentioned as well, the code is open source and you can find that available on GitHub. Thanks for watching, and a Merry Christmas from the University of Southampton. I'll let this play us out.